Good afternoon, YouTube. And in this video, I'm going to teach you about do while loops. So, what are do while loops? Do while loops are, if you don't know what loops are, please refer my second video and the last video. Okay. So, what do while loop does is unlike for loop, it's not written in one line. Unlike while loop, it doesn't checks the condition first. It checks the condition last. And I'll tell you how. Int, let's just start with the code. I equals to 0, sorry, 10. Do. What do? We print. What do we print? We print. And by the way, one thing I have noticed in many movies is they always portray Indian guys speaking like, "Hi, how do you do?" Do I voice like that? I mean, do I sound like that? Please comment below. I'll try to improve. Do while I is greater than 0. Okie dokie. I don't need that. It will understand what I'm trying to do. Return 0. Okay. So let's start and let's see what it prints. Boogie boogie. Okay. It says that this thing is expected before return. That means I have done some error right before return. That means I haven't terminated something. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it did work. And you know what? I did that same mistake which I did in the earlier example. It always happens, it always happens because you're always distracted by something or other, and this thing happens. Has to. Same output as we saw in the earlier example. It will print 10, then decrement the value. So what basically do while does is it does the operation irrespective of the condition, whether the condition present here is true or not. It just runs the operation. Okay, it won't check whether there is a condition or not until and unless it reaches this line. So do while is a loop which executes once. It always executes whether the condition is true or not. For example, what I do is, if I what can I do? If I is not equals to 10. Okay, see, I is not is equal to 10, so it should not print anything because the first condition is false and the loop will not run. Okay, but you will see what happens here. See, what it did is it went inside. What it did is it just went inside and printed 10. Okay, it did its job, decremented the value to 9, and then what we see is, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I should have written 10. And then it will go on to minus some infinite value or minus 32,000 something. I guess it should do that. Let's see. Yeah, it does. See, what this did, it should have ended here, but it went on printing everything up to the last value an integer can take. And see this compiler, as you can see, lots and lots of values. So how this happened is, let me tell you, this do while loop ignored this condition. It always ignores the condition first, means once. Okay, what it did is it just took this 10, printed it, and decremented it values. Okay, so in that way, it is never it will never become 10. You just imagine now, you took 10, printed it, and then decremented it, and this loop will always keep decrementing the value of I until and unless it reaches infinity, or it reaches the lowest integer value supported by the compiler. Okay, so this is what you can say is a disadvantage or an advantage. It depends how you use it. Okay, so let let me clarify even more, even further. Let's see. What I did is, I see, this proves my example. When I wrote here 10, 10, it printed all the value, means it kept on incrementing the value up until the last value, which is accepted by the this compiler. Okay, now what I did is I just changed the value to 9. So what happens here is, it comes in, it prints 10, and then decrements the value to 9, and then the condition is false. Why? Because I should not be equal to 9, and then it stops the execution of the while loop. Okay, so this loop, this do while loop, always executes once. It has to. Okay, always remember that. And that's it for today. In the next video, I'm going to teach you what postfix and prefix are, and after that we can start with really nice pattern printing, means pattern printing different patterns using for loop, how to use nested for loops for your, because these things are very frequently used in programming, when you create array, when you access string and all those things. So we'll get on to those very soon, but try practicing all the previous examples that I have done, and try changing the values. For example, what can I write here to means to clarify your example more. For example, for what happens if I write I is not equal, I not equals to 0, so it will execute up until 0. What happens while if I write I is greater than 100? So technically it should not execute, but since it is a do while loop, and as I have told you, it always execute once, so it executed even though this condition is false, but it only executed once. Why? Because it always execute once this body, and then it comes and checks the statement and stops the execution. So all these things, try visiting my previous codes and do it, and I am sure this will help you in further things to come. Okay, so thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Have a good day. Thank you.